Hey, Shalom Akim, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makakadash, Barakatam, double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Great Mystery and Real Wilds, Bram Nasher, DC Camp, another end times lesson for the hopeful elect. Yeah, so this issue about China test firing their nuclear capability is just becoming a topic, discussed in all these circles of the elites, these so-called higher echelons of the government. They have to have a response, all right? They have to come up with a plan to address certain concerns. So this is not surprising, you know. It's not surprising. North Korea does the same thing too. United States does the same thing. So you'll be surprised, what nations tested missiles that we don't even know about. So you just be ready, man. You don't want to be caught off guard. When all this chaos gets unleashed upon the face of the earth. So the title of this news article, this news clipping says China fires nuclear capable missile near Australia. Yeah, in the same neighborhood. All right, in the same neighborhood. So this is what happens when the allies of your enemy live next to you. You become concerned. All right, about how you plan your defense, how you plan your attack, what to do and what not to do, the type of weapons you have to develop. That's basically China's point of view. But now Australia don't want the smoke, but at the same time they are in bed with the West. All right, so it's a military outpost of the West. Australia is a strong ally of the United States. So whatever is going on over there, they know they're gonna get hit if they make any sudden moves in support of NATO, in support of America. All right. So yeah, it's horrible. And the same thing in Europe. When they want to come against Russia, they're gonna have to make a choice. They're gonna have to make a choice. All right, these NATO countries over there in the EU, they're next door to Russia, and America's ally in the so-called lands of Arabia. They're within reach of Iran, so you can imagine, the type of chaos that's going to be happening all around the world. The scripture tells that the world shall reel to and fro like a drunkard. Yeah, so when those nuclear missiles hit their mark, that's it. That's it. Yeah, you have to watch the series on Apple TV. It's called Silo. All right. You can also watch Planet of the Apes. It tells you what type of environment you're gonna be living in. You see the effects of the nuclear blasts. And how people began to live in underground facilities. All right. So I'll read a quick precept from the book of Zephaniah, chapter 1. All right, because these folks are saying something else, man. That China only gave them about 2 hours notice before they launch the missile. But hey, whether you get 2 hours, 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 months, 2 years, it doesn't change anything, man. The plan of the Lord is moving forward. In fact, it's even speeding up. All right. So Zephaniah 1 and the 14 says, "The great day of the Lord Yahweh Shai Kakadash is near. It is near and hasted greatly." So it's coming forth with speed. It's moving rapidly. The time of Esau's rulership is fading. The sands flowing through the hourglass is moving at a fast pace than before, at a faster rate. So Esau's worried, like why are the sands going through the hands of the hourglass so fast to the other side, alright? Even the voice of the day of the Lord Yahweh, the mighty man shall cry there bitterly. So it's going to be painful, for these military members, soldiers across the world, man. It's going to be sad that they took part in a war effort that destroyed the world. That's horrible. That's a horrible mindset to be in. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness. Yeah, so it's going to be horrible. Just like you see that behind the lady, hey, it's going to be hilarious. If it was real, if it was a real missile coming towards Australia, oh boy, that's it. She won't have enough time to make it to the exit door, man. Alright, verse 16, Zephaniah 1:16, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. So now the people that are in this country are going to start having questions for their so-called elected leaders, man. That what's the plan for public safety during the time of a nuclear attack? What facilities do you have for the people? That's the question that's going to be on the minds of the people very soon. The reporters, the journalists, they're going to be pressing hard, man, that why, if you're going to start this war, how can you guarantee the safety of the people? People are going to be looking to save their own skin. So, hey, you just got to trust in the Lord, man. You're going to see the worries of the people. Alright, verse 17 says, "And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai Bashim Kakadash, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung." Yeah, that is the judgment. And then verse 18 says, "Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord Yahweh's wrath, but the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. For he shall make an end, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land." So the Lord just can't wait, man, to tear this place apart. The Lord is in a haste to tear Babylon apart, man.
Nuclear missile threat from China has become very real this morning after Beijing test-fired a nuclear-capable missile right on our doorstep. It happened at 2:01 p.m. yesterday, East Coast time. Fitted with a dummy warhead, it was fired from a nuclear-powered submarine. Our government was given just 2 hours' notice, and it came within hours of Australia signing a historic defence pact with Fiji. Live now to Jennifer Parker, defence analyst and former Navy warfare officer. Welcome, Jen. We only received that 2 hours' notice. Is that normal practice under international law? Look, there's no international law requirement apart from the requirement of due diligence, but no, that's not normal practice. It's also not normal practice for China to fire these long-range intercontinental ballistic missiles into the Pacific. Now, many nuclear powers do. In fact, the US does test 2 to 3 missiles a year. It fires them into the Marshall Islands, but with much more notice, generally a day's notice. So this was a surprise. So was it a warning shot from China because we had just signed that defence pact with Fiji? Look, I think this is clearly a demonstration of capability. There are other ways for China to test this capability rather than firing into the Pacific between Nauru and Tonga. I don't think that.
Yeah, so that's how messed up it is, man. So from days notice to hours notice. You can imagine when there is no notice. All right, so that's how messed up it's going to be for these people in the last days. Revelation chapter 18 and 17. For in 1 hour, so great riches is come to naught. So whatever America had built for over 250 years is going to be eviscerated in 1 hour. And every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off. All right, so you're gonna have all these witnesses, man, and all these vessels at sea, watching the destruction of America take place, watching the destruction of certain countries take place. All right, China, Iran, Russia. Yeah, those shipmasters are going to be seeing it with their own 2 eyes. All right. And verse 18 says, and cried when they saw the smoke of our burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? Yeah, so America is on the verge of being destroyed. This is just what the scripture says, and a lot of people don't want to accept it. As the Israelite, you have to accept it, man. As a man of the Lord, you have to accept it. Verse 19, and they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour is she made desolate. Right? So the owners of these merchant vessels are going to feel the pain, the loss of an economic superhouse to fuel their wealth. Their stream of income is going to be destroyed. It's going to be done away with. All right. So now they have to go look for another opportunity elsewhere. But hey, too late. It's a new governing body coming upon the face of the earth, and that's the kingdom of Yahweh Hashem Shai, Bashim Kokadash, the kingdom of Israel. All right. So it's gonna be a whole new ball game, a different set of rules to go by. All right. So yeah, it's gonna be painful, for a lot of people to make that adjustment. But hey, that's all right. The Lord will help them make that adjustment. All right, that's not a problem. So Joel 2:1 says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord Bashim Shai, Bashim Kakadash, cometh, for it is nigh at hand. So this is just a reminder, man, that the times of the Lord's visitation is at hand, and we have to prepare ourselves. All right. So another precept, Jeremiah chapter 4 and 19 says, my bowels, I am pained at my very heart. My heart maketh a noise in me, I cannot hold my peace. Because thou hast heard, O my soul, the sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war. So it's painful, man, to be in the midst of a chaotic environment. I worry about it too, you know, to see all that chaos, because when I drive home every single day, you just see the so called National Guard in DC, man, with their Humvees, just holding posts by the Lincoln Memorial, all right? And then you have them walking up and down DC. So, yeah, Jeremiah 4:20 says, destruction upon destruction is cried, for the whole land is spoiled. Suddenly are my tents spoiled, and my curtains in a moment. All right, so it's gonna be painful for a lot of families. Those with children will have to make adjustments. People gonna be looking to flee America when this conflict, you know, starts to gain more steam, right? Because the economy is basically running on empty right now, man. The economy is not as vibrant as it needs to be. You have protests by the medical workers, construction workers, drivers, teachers. It's a mess. Lawyers are not feeling good about the system anymore. The financial sector is just in the way called a tree card Monty. So you just have to be circumspect, man. You don't want to get carried away in your pursuit of Babylon's illusions, man. The illusions got people running mad. All right, so you have to be aware of how to approach these calamities when they take place. You have to trust in the Lord. When you read Luke chapter 12 and 40, it tells you also what you have to be, reserving in your mind. Luke 12 and 40, be therefore ready also, for the Son of Man cometh at an hour when you think not. Alright, so that's what we have to accept, acknowledge, and gravitate towards, man. Yahushua said he shall return like a thief in the night. So, hey, stay prepared, stay ready, stay sharp. Shalom.